Alright, so today we want to start talking about the distance formula and the midpoint formula. Yesterday we studied the Pythagorean theorem. It helped us find the third side of a right triangle, and this kind of builds off of that. Now when we're talking about distance formula, we're talking about the distance between 2 points on the coordinate plane. Any 2 points. It can be any 2 points at all. So let's say that we have the point 6, 6, 1. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1. And the point 1, negative 5. So 1 and down to negative 5. So that would be this point right here. So when we're talking about the distance, we're actually talking about from here to here. How long is that line? That's what we're looking for. Now, if it were straight up and down, if I had a point here and a point here, I don't have to use the distance formula for that. I can actually count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's when we have diagonal lines that we have to use the distance formula. Now, I said it was based on the Pythagorean theorem. So what we've got here is a triangle. If you can't see it, there's our triangle. And because these two are perpendicular to each other, one's horizontal, one's vertical, this is actually a right angle. So we can use the Pythagorean theorem to find it. This is just C. Alright? This side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can find this length right here by using our Pythagorean theorem. It says that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And we know that a is 5 and b is 6. So c squared is equal to 25 plus 36. And that's going to be 61 is equal to c squared. Now, we do have to get rid of this squared, so we're going to have to take the square root of both sides. So the exact answer would be that the square root of 61 is equal to C. Now we also talked about that, we have exact answers and approximate answers, so you can, of course, type this in your calculator, get the decimal that goes with it, and that would be perfectly okay. Make sure that you follow your directions and do whatever you're supposed to for that. If it says give an approximate answer, type it in your calculator, round, and if it says give an exact answer, make sure you leave it as a square root. So this is where the distance formula comes from. It's based on squaring it, add it, take the square root. That's the idea. But let's actually talk about the distance formula. So the distance formula itself is D is equal to the square root of x minus x squared plus y minus y squared, all under a big square root. This is the actual distance formula. And you're like, wow, that looks really intimidating and really daunting. However, just be aware that it's doing exactly what we did on the last page. X minus x, all that's doing is giving me how far apart are these 2 points side to side. That's this side. The y minus y is doing the same thing. It's giving us that distance between the 2 points going up and down. It's giving us this side of the triangle. We then had to square them both because it was a squared plus b squared. And once we did a squared and b squared, we added them. And then it was equal to c squared, so we had to take the square root. So this is the formula, but you got to make sure you know how to use the formula. Your first steps are always going to be subtract the x's, subtract the y's, ooh, my board is starting to act up. Subtract the y's, square them, add them, and take the square root. I don't know why my board is acting up. Ooh. Alright. Those last couple got a little rough. But this is the idea. Subtract your x's, subtract your y's, square them, add them, take the square root. So let's take another example. Let's do the points -2, 6, and the point 4, -1. Alright, so -2, 6 would be right here, and 4, -1 would be right here. So we are looking for the distance between these 2 points. That's the distance that we're looking for. Now, if you have graph paper handy, you can always just count the sides to get the sides of your triangle and use the Pythagorean theorem. That is always a perfectly legitimate option. If you do not have graph paper, though, the distance formula will actually do it for you without having to graph it. I just need to subtract my x's. So first I've got to figure out what my x's are. First x is a -2, second x is a 4. So I'm going to be doing -2 minus 4. That's going to give me my x's. Now I need to find my y's. My y's are going to be 6 and -1. Always be careful when subtracting negative numbers. 6 minus -1. What's minus a negative? Plus a positive. So do be careful about that. And then we're going to take the square root. I do give a strong warning of not trying to do this in one step on your calculator. Doing it in one step on your calculator will definitely cause some problems. So let's take a look at -2 minus 4 is going to be -6. Minus a negative is plus a positive. So 6 plus 1 is 7. So we subtracted our x's, we subtracted our y's, square them. This will be 36, and this is going to be 49. Add them. 36 and 49 is 85. And take the square root. So again, if it asks for an exact answer, make sure you leave it as a square root. If it asks for an approximate answer, you can type it in your calculator and get the approximation.